Hi, and welcome to our live broadcast, The Ruby Heart. My name is Marcella, and I'm here with our special guest, soul level astrologer Mark Borax. And before I bring him on, I just want to welcome you all into our new virtual space. This is the first time that we're streaming in this way on several different channels simultaneously. So we're really rallying the forces behind Mark's new book, The Ruby Heart of the Dragon, which will be coming out here in May. And it's really been a work of blood, sweat, and tears for him over the last 4 years. And we're just excited now to bring this out into the public and look at new ways we can actually redefine ourselves by redefining the zodiac. So, a couple announcements before we begin. One is this will be happening live every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and we will also be streaming on Rumble soon as well. And then also, for those of you that are already excited about pre-ordering the book, you can go to the website, therubyheartofthedragon.com, and you're actually able to start putting in your email to get information about pre-ordering the book and to learn more about the book soon. So without further ado, I want to bring in Mark Borax to kick off our live streams.
Thank you, Marcella. Welcome, everybody, to our weekly broadcast, the Ruby Heart of the Dragon. I am excited beyond measure to announce the fact that my book that I have been working on for more than 4 years is just about ready to be published. The official release date is May 9th. And between now and then, I'm going to be doing these weekly broadcasts to share excerpts from each chapter with you and expound on them. The Ruby Heart of the Dragon, Sun Signs for Our Times, is the name of the book. And that's the idea that your sun sign is like a ruby heart burning inside you. Each sign of the zodiac is so much more deep and powerful than most astrologers ever know, that in order to clear away the cliches and the superficialities of astrology, I decided to completely revamp the signs. Little did I know how much work this was going to take. It was more like an ayahuasca journey than an academic exercise, because 7 days a week, each morning for more than 4 years, I have been laboring at my keyboard to tear down each of the 12 signs of the zodiac and build them back up again from scratch. And that has led me on a merry chase. I've gotten deeper and deeper into the signs of the zodiac, deeper and deeper into my writing. And this is a lifelong mission, because I began studying the signs of the zodiac in our Northern California mystery school more than 30 years ago. And even before I started writing the book, I was already working on a soul level with each sign in my personal readings and in our classes in the College of Visionaries and Wizards, where we teach people how to read the birth chart from a soul level the way I do. And that information that I already had became the starting point for this book, where I dug deeper and deeper and deeper into each sign of the zodiac. The dragon reference has to do with the north and south nodes of the moon. Arabian astrologers gave very imaginative names to the north and south nodes of the moon. The north node, which indicates your future, they called the dragon's head. And the south node, which has to do with your past as well as your past lives, they called the dragon's tail. And there's a stretch between where you've been as a soul, where you've been in your past and in your past lives, and where you're going. That stretch between the tail of the dragon and the head of the dragon is centered by your sun sign, which you can visualize as being in between the dragon's tail and the dragon's head. And I see your sun as a ruby heart. In this book, I'm tearing down everything everybody thought they knew about the signs of the zodiac and building them back up again. And this journey is just about done, because right now my editor is in Mexico, busy adding the final edits to the manuscript and getting it ready for production. Today, I'm going to talk about the introduction to the book, which begins with a quote by Thomas Merton, who says, "What can we gain by sailing to the moon if we are not able to cross the abyss that separates us from ourselves?" What can we gain by sailing to the moon if we are not able to cross the abyss that separates us from ourselves? And this reminded me that ancient people saw the world as a ravaging monster that can only be tamed by the soul force within you. That force remains dormant like a sleeping dragon till you cross the abyss between you and yourself. Astrology, though it often stumbles into lazy thinking, when practiced as a high visionary art, is one of the best methods I know of for awakening the dragon. So this book describes the flight of your dragon from the hard karma of your soul's past to the freedom of your optimal destiny. The idea here is that at any given moment, more than one futures are streaming towards you, and it's up to you to activate the truest, freest, most authentic one. This is how I use astrology in my readings. I do private readings with people around the world by telephone, through Zoom, and also in person for those who come to my home in Vermont. I'm working to help you clear off your hard karma and open to your optimal destiny. After 40 years of doing this work, I put everything that I know about the signs of the zodiac into this book. And the zodiac itself is a creation story that proposes 12 variations on the theme of being human. And my attempt to revamp the signs has been a way to teach you how magical you are and what that stretch is from your soul's past toward its future. Today, I'm going to be elucidating parts from the introduction, talking about the scope of the whole book. And also, we're going to leave room for questions and answers at the end of the broadcast, and exciting ideas about how you folks can sign up for pre-release and help us spread the word, which is starting now to trickle through the ranks of astrologers. I've already gotten a few famous astrology authors to read the manuscript in its unfinished form, and they're starting to write me some pretty killer endorsements about how radical my approach is to the zodiac, how much it's going to change the way people look at astrology and the way people look at themselves. This is the same kind of experience we offer in the College of Visionaries and Wizards, where we teach a 3-year program that still has some seats left in it for people who want to study the chart on a soul level each week with a group of spiritual outlaws. And also, I have a class beginning on March 18th, Pluto in Aquarius during the year of the cat, sharpening your instinct, completing the revolution, because we're living in highly changing times right now, where Pluto is about to return to Aquarius for the first time since the revolutions of the 18th century. The American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, all of those happened the last time Pluto was in the sign of revolution, Aquarius, where on March 23rd, a few weeks from today, Pluto is going to re-enter Aquarius for the first time since then, calling for a new revolution. But this time, It's an inner revolution, equally as much, if not more, than an outer revolution. It's not limited to a single nation. It's not limited to a single ethnic group or religion or gender. It's a call for people to wake up and to break out of the artificial existence, to open to the truth of their own nature. And this is another reason why I wrote this book to come out now, is to help assist the revolution. Birth charts contain many other features besides your sun and your south node and your north node. But in the Ruby Heart of the Dragon, Sun Signs for Our Times, those are the three features I'm concerned with, because your south node of the dragon indicates your past, and your sun sign indicates your present, and the north node or head of the dragon indicates your future. And this stretch between your dragon's past and your dragon's future is radiated and enlightened by the sign of your sun. And so in the book is an entirely new take on astrology, because astrology is often used to typecast people. In the Middle Ages, the astrologer was in the service of the king. And in our day and time, astrology has often been used to put people in their place rather than free people. I was trained in my apprenticeship in a different way to use an astrology, because the first day I met my teacher in 1987, he read my birth chart and said, if you want to be an astrologer, you're going to need to do it the real way. And very few people do astrology the real way. And I said, well, what is the real way? And he said, you have to never think you know what Gemini and Virgo and all the other signs are. You have to be willing to find out what all the signs are all over again with each new person you meet. And this is an astrology like jazz. This is not like classical music or even rock and roll. In jazz, you might have seen the same chart for a particular song hundreds or thousands of times. You might have played that song. But unless you find something new about the song each time you play it, it's not jazz. And this is a star jazz. This is why my book was like a medicine journey to write, because in the 4 years I spent writing it, I had to almost forget everything I knew about the signs and start all over again. It's it feels like I just finished climbing Mount Everest, even though the book's not out. It was a long haul. It pushed me to the max in terms of my astrology ability, from 40 years of doing astrology readings and teaching classes, and my 7-year apprenticeship and all my training. This has kept me on my toes in terms of doing astrology like jazz. I see your sun sign as a ruby heart, which stimulates the warm emanation of your innermost being. It empowers you to shine your creative purpose into the world. Just like the sun in the sky, the sun in your birth chart radiates growth rays that impel you to become the whole of who you are. Awakening your dragon also awakens your life art, because each human life is an art. It's no less complex and transformative than painting or sculpture or music. It's the art of being you. Most of us don't necessarily look at our life as an art. Most of us don't usually consider the way that we look at things to be an art in itself. But that's why I wrote the book, is to awaken you to the art of your existence. And art, unlike algebra, has no right or wrong answers. There's no right way to do art. There's no right way to paint a picture. There's no wrong way to write a song. But what there is instead of that are remedial, introductory ways to live your life and masterful, radiant, breakthrough ways to live the art of your life. That's what this book is dedicated and devoted to, is turning you on to the art of your life. Reading the book out loud, especially to somebody you love, is highly recommended, because during the last 4 years, I read out loud chapters to the friends and students of mine who had those sun signs. And I found that verbalizing the material made it come alive, made it sing. Even if you read it aloud to yourself, the material is meant to really shine its deeper layers. The Ruby Heart of the Dragon is the idea that your soul reincarnated in order to bring the deep creative fire packed into it out into the world through the acts of your life. That you didn't land here randomly. You didn't end up with your birth chart for some random reasons. That there's a continuity in the path of the soul from life to life to life. Just like a book, when you begin to envision your life as a single chapter in a much longer book, the book of the soul, the continuity comes when you turn karma into grace, when you pick up on your most challenging patterns, the places where you have time and again struggled for freedom, for breakthrough, for awakening. When you awaken in the places where you've been asleep, you resolve the leftover issues of your past lives and their karmas, and you clear away a sufficient gravity of the heavy tail of the past, which charges up the ruby heart of your sun to shine clear ahead, a laser beam onto your optimal future. The idea being that out of all the possible futures that are streaming towards you, one is the most optimal, and it's not going to happen automatically. It's up to you to reach for it. That's where karma begins turning to grace, and the heavy weight of the past activates your ruby heart to shine its laser beam up ahead toward the future. When astrology is used as a way to introduce you to your deepest nature, to awaken you to the love that you are, to the creative fire that's packed into you, its cliches and its faded predictive narrowness dissolve in the heat of that awakening dragon fire and turn you on to the magic of being you. We need people to turn on to the magic of being themselves now more than ever, because life out there has become depressing, chaotic, confused, volatile, delusional, twisted, probably more than any other time in history. And to the point where the future of our whole species is currently in doubt and in jeopardy. And one of the main antidotes for such a twisted, heavy, delusional time in history is to awaken to the magic of what it is to be you. I'm not talking about narcissism. I'm not talking about awakening your ego to how much better than everyone else you are. I'm talking about falling in love with yourself in the most innocent, childlike, and wholehearted way, that just you being here as the unique individual that you are has layer after layer after layer of treasures involved in it. And each sun sign becomes so much more than it seemed to be until you go into it all the way, which is why other astrologers who have read my work in progress are starting to tune into how radical a revision of the zodiac my new book is. And here's a quote from Stephen Forrest, one of the most popular current astrology authors. Stephen said, "Deep thinking about astrology theory side by side with the fruits of an examined life are an unbeatable combo. In The Ruby Heart of the Dragon, Mark Borax deftly weaves astrological autobiography into a fresh and very evolutionary perspective on the 12 signs. A big plus is that he has the craft of a true writer. There's music in his language too." And thank you, Stephen Forrest, for bringing that in. Now I'm wondering if we have any questions. So I'm going to turn that over to my lovely wife, Marcella, to see if there's anything that people out there are wondering about before we sign off today. I did want to mention that you can pre-order the book. You can sign up to be one of the earliest orders of the book, where you end up getting some gifts for being one of the first to order the book at the rubyheartofthedragon.com. And so thanks.
Well, we don't have any current comments or questions right now, but I would love to hear you, if you felt inspired, to just talk a little bit more about the dragon's head and the dragon's tail, and just what that represents in the chart, and why that was such a strong feature for you to weave into the book.
The dragon's head and tail, or the north and south node of the moon, is a stretch. It's an opposition across the chart. So for me, for example, my dragon's tail is in the sign of Cancer, which means my dragon's head is in the sign of Capricorn. As a soul, I'm coming from Cancer and I'm heading toward Capricorn. The north node of the dragon's head is your true north in life. It's the destiny, it's the destination that your soul signed up for. Coming from Cancer and heading toward Capricorn means the journey of my soul has had, I'm coming from dependence toward independence. I'm coming from a very watery emotional state towards a very anchored and grounded mastery. I'm coming from a tail of Cancer to a head of Capricorn, and my sun sign is Libra. And so all my life, I'm using relationship as a way to gain self-mastery, the mastery of Capricorn, the kind of leadership that teaches other people how to awaken to their own nature. So that's one example of how the dragon's tail gives way to the dragon's head through the ruby heart. Any other questions or comments or things we need to mention here? I just want to say I'm just so psyched to be launching these weekly live broadcasts. We also have that Pluto and Aquarius class that's starting on March 18th, a weekly class. Pluto in Aquarius during the year of the cat, sharpening your instinct, completing the revolution. I know most people think of this as the year of the rabbit, but certain Asian countries look at it as a cat year. It's the one year of the zodiac that has two different animals. And I relate a lot more to cats than I do to rabbit. So I see 2023 as the year of the cat, which is all about sharpening your instincts. Pluto in Aquarius, completing the revolution that we began in the 1960s when we realized that love is the reason why we all came here. And that revolution got aborted before it could be completed. So I'm looking at this year as completing the revolution. You can find out about those classes at markborax.com, soullevelastrology.com. You can find out about our other classes and my private readings and my other books. Is there anything you want to add before we sign off, Marcella?
Well, we did have a Facebook user comment. They were enjoying our Ruby Heart discussion of the nodes, and they had just mentioned that they are working with the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius. And since we just moved out of those nodes, I didn't know if you wanted to comment on that or not, since there's a bit of a collective piece in that question as well as a personal one.
I'm not going to comment on that because I don't want people to start asking me personal questions about their chart. Once I do that, I never stop doing it. So I don't want to go in that direction. I'm very sorry. But I do want to give you a sneak preview. Next Wednesday for the live stream, I'm going to discuss finger pointing at the moon, how to douse your way through life, which is connected to the first chapter of the book. Today, I shined some light on the introduction to the book. Next week, I'll be going more into the book itself. And I want to thank all of you who've joined us here live and those who will see the recording. I want to thank Marcella Eversole, my lovely, energetic wife, and my behind-the-scenes team of Brooke and Kathy and Jess and Mocha and all the people that are massing to help launch this new book, this revolutionary book out into the world at a time when we really need to turn on to the magic of our own existence. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you all next time. It's Mark Borax signing off.